So here we are, another episode of our Veterans Act, where we interview veterans who really just have had a career of making a difference for a living. I'm going to pass this on to Russell with his guest, and the little bit that I know about the person and reading his bio. Later on, I'll do a separate little clip on just his bio. But if I just went down the list of what he's done and the awards he's gotten, you'd have to grab a cup of coffee and sit back for a good 15 minutes. That's how rich it is in knowledge and information. That's part of being trainable. And what we're up to here is giving people, particularly veterans, an opportunity to transition from the mission of the military, which thank God for the military and freedom and defending our nation and people around the world, to the missions in the capitalist world, which is all over the place. Like the military's got one mission, and U.S. capitalism has got, you go into any house and there's a different mission. The people in the house have a different mission. The companies they work for have a different mission. Parents have a different mission. Single people have a different mission. So the missions are all over the place in the world of capitalism. And we offer an opportunity to get trained to transfer the skills that someone already has in this great military to be successful in the good old civilian world, which there is a big delta. There's a gap. And it really boils down to distinctions. And that's what the Veterans Act is all about. ACT stands for Advanced Career Training. We focus on being trainable so you could apply to any career you want. We focus on empowering the family. So whether you're on duty or in your home, somewhere in between, or whatever the circumstance, you could still have conversations with the technology that's available today. You can have conversations from anywhere that make a difference for your family and your children, parenting in particular. And then there's career training if someone wants to get into the mortgage business. We have other careers lining up, but we do the mortgage business because that's what we know. That's what we do. But you don't have to do the mortgage business. It's nice to be trainable in any career you take on. So on that note, I'm going to pass it on to you, Russell. If you introduce Eric, I want to hear what you've been telling me. I want to record what you've been telling me.
So I just want to jump on the end of that where you said, we can train for any career. But the big thing about us is that, joining us and getting into the mortgage business does something that no other business that I know of does successfully, unless you're, doing, maybe your own business or some kind of what they call them, pyramid schemes or something like that. But for us, being in the mortgage business and literally being in a legitimate business, it's giving back or giving to the veteran, whether they are transitioning or whether they're already out of the military, the probability, the possibility of having your own time back, having the freedom to go and do what you want to do, as opposed to getting permission to go do what you want to do. And that's what we're trying to eliminate, as well as giving them a skill or allowing them to want to get a skill in order to build not just freedom and probability, but possibility of creating a generating income so that they can do other things besides waiting on the government or waiting on Social Security or anything to give them a check, which is limiting in itself.
That's great.
So
That's
now
perfect.
we're talking about creating possibility inside of a program that we're pulling together that allows them the empowerment of being able to do more than what they thought they could. Because what do we say? What's our tagline or our mantra? During this time, it is virtually impossible to be unempowered. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give everybody who is a veteran an opportunity, whether they're on active duty, transitioning from active duty, or moving past and have already retired, or a veteran, or whatever the case may be, an opportunity to be empowered through the mortgage business.
Right.
And that's what we're looking for. But I have my wonderful friend, longtime friend, who I served with in the military for several years. We served in the Army National Guard together, the Bureau itself, in D.C. and Virginia. We served in the Pentagon together for approximately, I don't know, about 4 or 5 years. And so we've had an opportunity to serve not just at the tactical level, but also at the strategic level, where where literally decisions are made. And we became good friends. Some of it was because it was in a survival mode, if I can say, but we fed off of each other, but it was good energy. And the other thing is what we fed off of, and we lifted each other up, is because we both have a spiritual background. And so, and I don't want to leave that out because that's very important.
Yep.
And I know that some people may not necessarily be drawn to that. I'm not trying to do church here, but I am trying to let everybody know that there is a higher power that's out there that pulled us together and is giving us an opportunity to do something greater than ourselves. So I met Eric when we were serving together in the Army National Guard. And it was one of those moments that we were sitting in a meeting together and we were scratching our heads on what direction are we trying to go in? And then after we were sitting and talking, because everything can get lost in the sauce, right? And people can have their way of thinking and way they want to do things, but then not everybody agrees on the direction. So we're thinking, hey, where are we trying to go? Why are we trying to get there? And what's the end result? What we were actually doing was being trainable, but didn't know it.
Yes.
Because we did not quit. We didn't shut down. We didn't say, oh, those people are full of crap. We're not doing that. What we did was we said, how do we make this work for what we need to do? Yeah. So we opened ourselves up to being trainable, to being able to listen, to talk about the hard things, to work through what we necessarily didn't think was impossible, but we shouldn't. Because in my mind and in my world, I do my job, you do your job, and together we get the mission done. But it came down to the leadership, or those who were leading the charge here, if you will, didn't have the wherewithal to pull everybody into a room and say, this is what I need you to do. You tell me what resources you need and we'll support you. It became finger pointing and said, you're not doing your job. You're not doing your job. These other people aren't doing their job. So here's what we need you to do in order to make sure that the job gets done. And we're like scratching our heads like, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is Colonel Brownfield and Colonel Kelley, is that the position you're in, you're going to do everybody else's job and make this work and make us look good. That's where that came down to. And instead of us turning our backs on that concept, we opened ourselves to be trainable, and we moved in on that and developed a system so that not only he and I used it, but it was up to the leadership to also implement that as well. And so in that, Eric and I became very close in operation and then in friendship based on how we were trying to attack this problem that the leadership put on people like myself and Eric, which were known as executive officers, in a position of handling an administrative matter that did not belong to us.
Yes.
So he and I sat down, we worked together, we complained. We were throwing rocks at glass windows and doors. We were telling people, you're crazy, you're nuts. But at the same time, we were saying, okay, so after we'd invented, how do we make this work? And we built that friendship over many, what we considered, at the time, molehills that turned into mountains, which I would say other people turned into mountains. And, we had to scale, those mountains successfully. And so we did. And in doing that, we built a fantastic friendship that has lasted us through the years in the various departments and positions within the military. And I'm grateful for his friendship. I'm grateful for his spiritual leadership, because this man is absolutely phenomenal when it comes to the Lord. And yeah, he's a living example, is I guess what I'm trying to say. And because of that, he has had some very various experience in both civilian, transitioning to military, working in between both, and then working with the Pentagon, working with the White House, and working with. This guy has an extreme amount of experience and extreme amount of knowledge that he can bring to the table, and help other veterans negotiate some of the things that they don't know that they can do, simply by being trainable, being open, and not being so sensitive to what's going on. Because we can all get angry, we all can get disappointed, but can we all rise above that so that we can get beyond that, so that we can be trainable, so that we can get to the next level, so that we can accomplish what we said we want to accomplish without the monkey on our backs? So, Eric is like I said, he's got a lot of experience. Our friendship is I don't know, it's fantastic. Just like ours, Lou. It's been short, but it's been fantastic, and I've enjoyed every minute of it, every day of it. And I look forward to the Veterans Act to do a whole lot more than where we are right now, because we're in its infancy, and it's eventually going to stretch across the country and eventually across the world, because I see this going and being beyond us and after us. This is a legacy. This will move into a category to where it is constant. It's going on, because we cannot be in a society to where you're only helping a percentage of people. You have to be available to help anyone who's willing to be helped.
That's great.
And that's what we do. But we do it in such a way that we have a niche, and that niche is mortgage loans. And we are originators of those mortgages that help other people, whether they're veterans or non-veterans, who are looking to establish a home ownership. And that home ownership comes through our ability to help them see how to get there, through credit scores, through interest rates, through counseling, and helping them understand what is it going to take to be at the table to eventually close on your home.
Excellent. I want to benchmark something. Eric, I think what he's trying to say is that he loves you.
It's mutual.
That's all I felt as he was talking. So, anyway, so yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful. So Eric, if you don't mind, share whatever you'd want to share. The one question I would ask, if you were to highlight, what is it you'd want to highlight as far as yourself and your career? You're probably the best person to say, like, look, I want to be known for X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Like in my community here in Santa Barbara, I literally am, one of the things I'm definitely known at is a professional parent.
Okay.
And I just took that on. Like, people would ask me, what do you do for a living? This is when I was raising my daughters full time, still am full time, but as little girls. And people would say, what do you do for a living? Because everybody, that's the first question. It's almost before they even ask you, how are you? It's like, what do you do for a living? I was like, I just started answering, I'm a professional parent. and everything else I do is to have that work. Yeah. And what does a professional parent do? Well, my job is to raise a fully functioning, self-determining adult. And then people go, how do you get there?
I love that.
I go, well, you don't want to know the answer how I get there. He goes, yes, I do. Tell me, how do you do it? How do you get these kids to be fully functioning, self-determined? I'm having such a hard time with, I said, you want the truth? Yeah. She goes, you got to become a fully functioning, self-determining adult, because they're doing fine. They're just coming in here learning like, I just got bored. Hey, I want to go play. Hey, I'm in first grade.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
This is living life. And so our job is to guide them, inform them, educate them, giving them the bumpers, let them face plant. So there's a whole world of distinctions where you could have any conversation with anyone, anywhere, anytime, like that. And by the way, that does evolve. It does evolve, and I'll share later, because I told you earlier I wanted to share what happened with my daughter this morning in that evolution. But that'll be later. I want to stick with you. What would you want to be known for? And tell me about your relationship with Russell.
First of all, Russ and Lou, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate it. As Russ said, I can't even begin without giving honor, glory, and praise to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ of Nazareth. That's who I follow. That's who I subscribe to. That's who wakes me up every morning, and that's who leads me. What I would like to be known for at this point is that I just didn't take out of the system, but that I did everything I could to give back. The 40 years of Army life, God having allowed me to receive and to be receiving 100% VA disability, to be able to give that knowledge back, to be able to make it easier for the 1% of the nation who is currently serving in the different components, Army, Air Force, Marines, Navy, Coast Guard, active, reserve, National Guard, for those who have served, who are now like Russ and I, veterans, and for those who are sitting in their junior, senior years of high school, those who are in the ROTC programs, those who are at West Point, those who are at VMI, the Citadel, those who are going through the program I went through, Officers Candidate School, empowering them and making sure that they have at their fingertips all of the resources, all of the tools, all of the knowledge, so that they are self-empowered, so that they are able to launch themselves. Because one thing Russ and I were taught from day one in uniform, and we both started out enlisted. So Russ and I did not start out in a formal program where we began our careers as second lieutenants. I think, Russ, you may have started out where I started out as a buck private. That's where I began my 40-year Army career.
Yeah, I didn't have anything on my shoulders at all.
Absolutely nothing. And we were both taught then that if you don't manage your career, if you don't care about your career, no one else will. So for those of you in uniform who are listening to this podcast, yes, we understand. You have veterans here, and you have an individual who is closely aligned with the military. We understand the hustle and bustle of your careers. We understand you getting pulled in so many different directions, and you're trying to manage and juggle the balls of personal life, of professional life, of family life. Understand this: you're not always going to be wearing that uniform. Now is the time for you to prepare, whether you are thinking or whether you have made the decision. I'm just going to take the technical trade or the schooling that I've had in the military, and I'm going to move on, or I am in this for a long-term career. As you hear this podcast, now is your time to begin, because having grown up and coming out of one of the hardest neighborhoods in DC, I grew up around the corner from what's known as Clowntown, Clay Terrace, River Terrace, and Washington, DC. So some of you listening who are from Washington, DC, you're familiar with that neighborhood. One thing that we were taught early is either you learn to use the system or the system is going to use you. So for those of you who are wearing a uniform, If you're not aware, you already are in the system. So since you are already in the system, as they say in the military, it behooves you to start learning how to use the system, because the system is using you. You have signed your name on the dotted line. So you come under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So since you're already there, learn the mechanisms, learn the entitlements, learn the benefits, learn the tools and the resources at your disposal. And since we are in the 21st century, how to immediately tap into them. Because you, not to be redundant and not to be repetitive, at some point, you're going to want to tap into those benefits. You're going to want to tap into those entitlements. And one of the biggest things in the United States of America, especially in the 21st century, that we need to get away from is this conversation of race, this conversation of racism, of prejudice, of hatred, of bigotry. Yes, the Holocaust did occur. It actually occurred. Slavery, yes, it actually occurred. But if we're continuing in the conversation, there's an old cliche. To do the same things over and over and not see results is insanity. So we're having this same conversation, but we're not moving the needle. The needle is staying where it is. I share this story with everyone very briefly. The blue people, dissatisfied with the way they were worshiping God in their country, they left their country and they came to a country inhabited by the orange people and pretended to befriend the orange people. The blue people stole the land from the orange people, killing the majority of the orange people, and found that it was much too much work for them, the blue people, to work the land. So the blue people then went to another land and stole and enslaved the purple people and forced them to work the land that once belonged to the orange people, that the blue people stole from the orange people and now illegally owned. So we can continue that conversation, or we can get away from that conversation and look at what the true core is. And what the true core is capitalism. And what the true core is that capitalism is not just limited for the select few. It's not limited to the Kennedys, the Hearst, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Trumps. It's not limited to them.
Not anymore.
Playing field, the playing field can be leveled. The way that we level the playing field, and I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me go back.
It's good. It's good. Finish the thought. You could go back too if you want, but you're talking to the two right guys. We're running right next to you, man. I'm ready. I get
it. The way we level the playing field, it's called self-empowerment. Mm-hmm. The way we level the playing field is using what has already been given to us. And even at the preschool level, when we're teaching these children in the United States of America the importance of ABCs, the importance of vowels, the importance of consonants, simultaneously, we need to be teaching them the importance of their credit score right at that point, because that's where capitalism begins, is right at that point of having your credit score. And the reason why I said, let me put a pin in that, hypothetically imagine that you have this individual that's living in a mansion up on a hill. And this individual, male or female, doesn't matter, gender does not matter, has this mansion up on the hill, has these exotic cars, is living a life that's just unimaginable. And someone goes to that person up on that hill and says, listen, you have to take your wealth and you have to equally distribute it so that the individuals that are living in the village down from the hill that you're living on can begin to enjoy a semblance of the quality of life that you're enjoying. That's the United States of America. That's capitalism. The folks that are living on that hill have no intention, do not want to, are going to do everything that they can to protect their quality of life and not let anyone else into the game. And one of the ways in which that is done is to keep folks uninformed about the importance and the power of their credit score. Because if you have a good credit score, it speaks volumes. If you have a good credit score, it is not about demographics. It is not about the neighborhood you grew up in. It is not about the color of your skin. It is not about the education that you did not receive. If you have a good credit score, that good credit score will begin to open doors for you. But so many times in this country, the way that the game is played is that the average person is shown this lifestyle. The nice cars, the condos, the luxury apartments, the nice clothes, the nice vacations, and they get pulled into this scenario where before they know it, they have lost the opportunity to use their credit the way that it's supposed to be used, because they're paying triple and quadruple the interest rates for a basic normal entity of life that their counterpart who has been educated on the importance of their credit score is not paying. Their counterpart is paying the market rate or less annual percentage rate for that same entitlement and quality of life that the uninformed person over here that has never been educated on a credit score is paying a quadruple annual percentage rate, a quadruple interest rate for. And what needs to happen, going back to getting away from the conversation of race, of hatred, of prejudice, of bigotry. Nobody is saying it doesn't exist. Yes, it exists. But let's have a different conversation, and let that conversation be about creating generational wealth, creating multiple streams of income, creating diversity of income, and educating the person who thinks that they're being held back and showing them, no, you're not being held back. You can have a seat at the table just like everyone else. You might have to work a little harder. You might have to experience delayed gratification in having that quality of life that you want right now, but you will have it. And that's the conversation that we need to steer, and we need to direct a large portion of the United States of America into, especially the 1% of the nation that's wearing the uniform.
Yeah. And what you're and you know, education is about possibility, right? It's about knowing that you can and that there's nothing that can stand in your way. Not being angry about what someone else has or you think you ought to have it, because too many times, at least that I've seen, we look at what someone else has, and so we want what they have, but we don't know what they did to get what they have.
Yes.
And well, my battery's running low. Lou, go ahead and jump in right quick. I'm going to plug my system in.
Okay, cool. There's a. So first of all, thank you for really just right off the gate, like we're in the Kentucky Derby, man, like a thoroughbred. Open up, you're from racism to FICO scores, and awesome, awesome, awesome. If you're Russ, if you want to finish your thought, what you were saying, go ahead, finish. Then I could address some of the things.
Okay. So we talked about, the possibility. So if for those of us that are in the military, the thing that we look at that we know that is growth is promotion, right? We don't necessarily think growth is skill-based. We think growth is promotion-based, because we know that when you're promoted, you get more responsibility, you get more money, you get a bigger pool of people that you're working with. Promotion comes with notoriety and all that other stuff. So, we work hard to get promoted. We don't work hard to get good. We get good by working hard, but that's not the reason why we're working hard. We're working hard because we want a doggone promotion. So we come to work early, we leave late, we take all this crap from a toxic person, or we're telling our family that, I'm working hard to get promoted because it's going to do all of this other stuff for us. It's going to promise us this, it's going to promise us that. And, as we say, Eric, hey, we're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
Right? We're not taking sips, man. We're taking big gulps, because we know that being promoted in the military allows us to do more and gives us access to more, right?
Yeah.
So because it gives us access to more, it opens the aperture for us to do more. But we're working towards promotion for the wrong reason. And because, the military, or the narrative, I'll say, is that, you get promoted, you can do anything you want to do. The thing about promotion, that's key. The military expects you to get promoted and expects you to move up the ranks. At least in my experience, I've never heard anyone say the military expects you to work hard and do your job and know your craft. Yes, they have said that, but it's been an afterthought.
Yes.
The promotion, your craft is a product of promotion, instead of the promotion being a product of the craft.
Let me just interject something, and you guys tell me if this captures it. By the way, one of the things that we do, Lieutenant Colonel, is we try to translate. We have another guy, for example, Navy, literally engineer, a nuclear engineer, And one of the things that happened for him after going to the Being Trainable course is he went and actually took advantage of getting a degree from the college education courses that were available to him that he was never doing.
Outstanding.
And if you saw, and he just literally took his final test the other day. But if you actually, he's a perfect example of someone who went from not utilizing what's there and available to, oh man, I'm taking full and doing the life that he loves and participating and like that. So, but that's just